Yeah, that was great.
Hi there. My name is Caroline, and I work at the Austin Nature and Science Center. During the school year, I work at Nature's Way Preschool. For this week's early childhood video, we will explore two of the lesser-known senses. Balance, or the vestibular system, and body awareness, also known as proprioception. In this video, I'm going to explain what proprioception and the vestibular systems are, and I'll give some concrete ways of supporting this development. In previous videos, we've talked about the benefits of sensory play. It's important to remember that our senses are vital to learning. Nerve networks grow out of our unique sensory experiences, and they lay the groundwork and the pathways for all higher-level brain development. Along with the added cognitive benefits, sensory play also helps children feel calmer and more focused. In the New York longitudinal study, 133 subjects were followed from infancy into adulthood. It was discovered that competency in adulthood stemmed from three major factors. 1. Rich sensory environments, both indoors and outdoors. 2. The freedom to explore the environment with few restrictions. And 3. Available parents that acted as consultants when the child asked questions. So, robust sensory experiences are very important. When we think of the senses, we usually think of the 5 senses that process input from the outside world: smell, taste, touch, sight, and hearing. However, just as important in our lives is the integration of sensory input. The vestibular and proprioceptive systems help us recognize our movement and spatial awareness with respect to our body and our surroundings. Take a minute and process all of the input you're receiving from the world. Can you feel a breeze on your skin? Are you sitting in a chair? Are you upright or slouching? What noises are happening in the background? Where is your body in space? What stimuli are competing for your attention as you watch this video? For you to function, your body must integrate all of these stimuli and more. That is sensory integration. Sometimes children can get so overwhelmed by processing all the information that's happening in and around their bodies. This can result in fidgeting, frustration, aggression, and difficulty focusing or paying attention. There are so many reasons for this kind of behavior. It could be that the child is tired. It could be that they're hungry. It could also be that they need to move more. Children have an innate drive and understanding that they need to move their bodies in a variety of ways, and they will do so if they aren't prevented. What are some of the ways you remember moving as a child? Maybe you crawled over rocks, climbed ladders and trees, walked on logs. Maybe you twirled around, feeling all the blood rushing to your outstretched fingertips. Maybe you spun around on a tire swing or rolled down grassy hills. Do you recall seeing children doing such things? Spinning and rolling down hills is enticing to the average preschooler. In fact, it's this very spinning and twirling movement that aids in the development of body awareness and balance. The vestibular system, which is located in the inner ear, aids in our awareness of body and space and provides specific sensory feedback with regard to balance. The fluid in our ear gives us constant sensory feedback about where our body is in relation to gravity. It gives us specific information about where our head is. So if you're in a car and your eyes are closed and the car starts moving, your vestibular system is what tells you that you're moving. It not only tells you that you're moving, but it gives you information about whether or not you're moving forwards or backwards. And then the muscles in your neck, back, and core make adjustments based on the needs of the situation. For example, When children go across the monkey bars, the fluid in their ear communicates where their head is relative to gravity. It communicates specific information about the swinging and helps them time their movements. The vestibular system has the most influence on our everyday functioning, and it's actually the first to develop in utero. It's wired throughout the brain, so it affects so many different areas of functioning. Recent studies have shown that the vestibular system is intricately tied to emotion processing and mental health. It's also tied to certain muscles in our body, like our neck, back, and core, and our eye muscles. So the development of the vestibular system actually aids in developing the muscles that help you track the horizon, as well as track words while you're trying to read. For the most part, children in early childhood seek out vestibular development by engaging this system.
Any kind of movement engages the vestibular system, but extreme changes in head position is a way to engage this system further. Having your child move your laundry from the washer to the dryer can help them engage their senses. By doing heavy muscle work and lifting heavy, wet laundry, they're engaging their proprioceptive system. And by changing their head positions, they're engaging their vestibular system because they have to bend down and reach in. Regular vestibular engagement and the ability to focus are neurologically tied. This is why children who have a hard time focusing also sometimes have a hard time sitting still. Movement is necessary for regulation for all humans. It should be considered regularly at home and in school settings.
The proprioceptive system is another part of sensory integration. It's also related to movement. In fact, developmentally, proprioception and the vestibular system are intimately tied. The vestibular system allows the balance that's necessary to move from any one position to another. Proprioception helps us not only to move, but also have body awareness in regards to where we are in space. Children in early childhood are still developing their body's sense of itself in space. In fact, every time someone goes through a growth spurt, their proprioceptive system has to adapt to the new sizes and proportions. This is why often when children grow, there's a bit of awkwardness and a lack of coordination to the movements of their body. Their proprioceptive system is adjusting. All of our muscles have proprioceptive receptors, which sense the degree of stretch in the muscle. These stretch receptors let us constantly know everything about our physical position and provide feedback necessary for us to move and maintain balance. Proprioceptors allow us to explore our environment, understanding it through our muscle sense.
If you've ever played a blindfolded game or attempted to move without eyesight, for example, pin the tail on the donkey, you are using proprioception to find your way around and understand where you are by the movements of your muscles. When you close your eyes and you or someone else moves your arm, proprioception helps you know where your arm is relative to the rest of your body.
There are so many ways to create a sensory-rich environment, but these senses mostly involve movement, so giving children the opportunity to play and move their body the way they see fit is really important. Children have an internal drive to move, and this can help them to meet their own needs. The more children get proprioceptive feedback and vestibular engagement, the more they will feel calm, happy, and able to listen. Like Elizabeth said in an earlier video, some children seek sensory feedback more than others. Children seeking sensory feedback might need to move more often and get a sense of anxiety if they can't move. They might tap, chew, roll around on the floor to get that extra sensory feedback they need. Walking on tiptoes is even a form of sensory feedback.
Most playground equipment, like monkey bars, slides, swings, and spinning on tire swings, helps children to engage these sensory systems.
Other than playing on playgrounds, another thing that can be really helpful is just giving children an opportunity to push, pull, stretch, jump, crash, tumble, and do heavy muscle work.
At Nature's Way Preschool, we use large, loose parts that children can carry around. Tires they can push, wagons they can pull, and a large punching bag they can crash into or push anytime they want. Children get the opportunity to climb boulders, jump in piles of leaves, and balance while walking across logs. At home, you can create piles of pillows children can run and jump in or sandwich themselves in. You could also set up areas on the floor where they can tumble or perhaps even push against the wall. These bouncy workout balls are also a really nice way of engaging these senses because not only do they allow for movement, but they engage the core.
At school or at home, it can be nice to have a weighted blanket or even a weighted stuffed animal. These things can be very calming and grounding. Spending more time actively engaging in nature is optimal for brain development and sensory integration. Nature's Way Preschool is a nature program for children. Spending time in nature is a sensory-rich experience and involves all the senses, even proprioception and vestibular development. When children play on natural playscapes, there really isn't just one objective, so children can find creative ways to meet their sensory needs. As teachers and parents, it's important to remember that movement is essential to learning. We must remember that the brain and the body are not separate. Networks are created through our interactions with our senses. Sensory-rich environments are imperative for learning. It's also important to remember that the benefit of engaging these systems and senses do not disappear. Body awareness and balance are essential for lifelong emotional and bodily health, as well as brain development. As an adult, it's good to remember that you need sensory experiences too. I find that many of the things that I advocate for in early childhood are still important for adults. However, the advocacy for these needs disappear. And without a strong play drive, coupled with the various ways society interacts with our bodies, these things can be more difficult to engage in. Simple, regular vestibular activation through walking, biking, hiking, tai chi, and yoga are useful throughout life in maintaining balance and equilibrium in the body and are keeping the brain awake, focused, content, active, and growing new nerve cells. I hope this video helped you to think a little differently about movement, learning, and the connection between the body, the brain, and the environment.
These are two excellent books that I referenced in the making of this video. Smart Moves goes into depth about all the different senses and how they affect learning. Mindfulness and nature-based therapeutic techniques for children talks about some mindfulness activities you can do with children, and it talks about proprioception and balance.